What's going on, guys? It is Luke Hughes. I am coming at you with another TCG deck profile from the GGPG, which is a large free event that is hosted by me, Logan JYA, and Grim YGO. This was a 150-person event with a lot of really cool decks were brought in by some really skilled players. I'm currently here with BMT, who got top 8 with Mekk Knights. There was a lot of interesting matches that we saw. We spectated BMT a lot between some various matches, and I was really impressed with how he handled the deck and was very interested by his build. So he gave me the opportunity to film this deck profile with him. I'm in a call with him right now. How's it going, BMT?
Yeah, so it's going pretty well. I just want to preface this by saying this deck was built without a lot of knowledge about the new format, since the event was hosted the day before the ban list actually went live. So I really just tried to build it to be as versatile as possible. Not a lot of specific tech choices, really, just a lot of general stuff.
Mm-hmm. So let's jump right into it. So going to so what like can you run me through your Mekk Knight ratios really quickly?
Yeah, so most of these are kind of vanilla. 3 purple Nightfall, you banish him until your next standby phase to search a Mekk Knight. This guy ramps out of control and simplified game states like crazy. It's just like a free +1 every single turn. And then when you can get 2 of them, you can also start doing it on your opponent's turn because it's a quick effect. So you just end up getting like these 2 returning every single standby. It's such a good card, heart and soul of the deck, really. 3 blue. This guy, when he's summoned, he searches cards equal to the amount of cards your opponent controls in its column. All the Mekk Knights, of course, summon themselves, but there are 2 more cards in one column, and you can special them in that set column. Uh, then we have 2 of Move Man, Indigo Eclipse. This guy seems kind of weird when you look at it. As a quick effect, he can target a Mekk Knight, including himself, and move it to another main monster zone. This has a lot of synergy with the deck being a column deck. You know, you can summon it, move it away, make space for another Mekk Knight to summon it. Uh, but it also has a lot of synergy with the trap card, which we'll get to in a moment. And then for our one-offs, we have 1 Red Moon, who can banish a Mekk Knight from the graveyard to pop a monster in its column. We have 1 Yellow Star, banish a Mech to pop a back row in its column. These two, kind of the same thing, basic removal. And then finally, Green Horizon.
A lot of people
Yeah.
were surprised to see you play.
Yeah, this is probably the one thing that isn't very standard. I really like him though. Like for the first off, he's just like another name which comes up. I mean, at worst, all of these are just free extenders basically, because the summons are how once per turn.
Hmm.
But I really like having another search target to go for OTKs and stuff. But also his effects come up surprisingly often in the grind game. Um, I resort them like twice all turny. But basically, when an attack is declared involving itself and a monster in its column, so like if it's placed in front of an opponent's monster and attacks it, you get to add back a Mekk Knight from graveyard. Which in long games, I had one time where I basically ran out of Mekk Knights in the main deck, which is like really awkward. So I had to start adding things back from graveyard. And then I managed to add back like 3 Mekk Knights off of this 1 Green Horizon over like 5 turns versus another player. It was like really silly. But yeah, I keep Green Horizon to be honest. People don't like it. I do. Then
Yeah,
the
for your
best
normal
Orcust
summon.
monster.
Yeah.
Triple Gearsu. This guy is absolutely insane. You normal summon him, he sends the card right next to it, World Chalice. And then he also just summons a token and a token to your opponent's field. So not only is that just free link material, but it also manages to set up your columns with 1 card, because you give your opponent a token, which then
Mhm.
enables blue to search on first turn. and also just summon everything else. It also just plays around a whole lot of stuff, you know, Gamma, Imperm, Lightning Storm, which you kind of lose to pretty hard, all that stuff. This card's fucking insane. I love it. So yeah, that's the Mekk Knight. That's the Mekk Knight lineup, really.
Mhm. You also
Yeah.
played Gamma Seal, which is just like really good right now with the amount of Dragoon running around the meta, and it also works really good in this deck because you can set up columns with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gamma Seal seems like a no-brainer in the main deck right now.
Yeah, I really liked it. I actually managed to I actually managed to mind game a surprising amount of virtual world players into holding their single VFD until the main phase because they were afraid of Gamma and Imperm. Um,
Hmm.
was able to kaiju them in main phase 1, which is that's a really funny interaction that can sometimes pull off. But like
Yeah.
better VW players will usually like not let you do that.
Hmm.
But yeah, this card's fucking insane. Um,
You
3
also
nib.
played Nibiru. What decks were you preparing for by maining Nim for this event?
Like I was kind of expecting a good amount of of virtual world, and like I'd seen some people hyping up dragons. They obviously kind of flopped, but I didn't really know what was gonna be good for this event, like virtual world and stuff. So I just kind of threw a nib to stop combo decks in general. I'd
Hmm.
probably cut it to be honest, but it is really nice for setting up columns with the token. Like that's a common theme
True.
among most of the
True.
tech cards I play here. Um, yeah, and then to Ash. That's yeah. Let's move
uh,
on.
yeah. Okay then. All right. Three memory. This is basically a quick launch, right? Summon a
Yeah,
Mekk
this
Knight
is
from Hander deck, for
yeah.
free.
Yeah, this card is really good. The one issue is that it locks you into Mekk Knights for the rest of the turn, which that can be kind of frustrating because you're like, I mean, that means you're pretty restricted in terms of what extra deck plays you can make. Uh, but yeah, being a quick play is super important for the you know, in archetype disruption, which we'll get to soon. Uh, yeah, this card's fucking insane.
Yeah, memory is insane.
Yeah. What?
You also played 1/6 session, which
Yep.
just seems like a good extender, especially with Mekk Knights,
Uh,
because you have like good
Thing
arrows
is,
for it.
this is not just Reborn. It's a World Legacy card, which means it is very searchable in this deck.
Hmm.
So that mean like at some point you just kind of need a free extender. You can grab this guy from your deck at any point. Very good card to be honest. Not much to say there.
Yeah.
Um, Next up, World
Oh
Legacy
my
Key.
god. World Legacy Key. This card put in so much work for you at this event.
Yeah,
Like
so
it's
this
wild.
card's silly.
Yeah.
Basically, activation, you just add back any banished Mekk Knight, which is pretty easy to set up with like Red Moon, Yellow Star, and Purple, all banishing stuff. You can also add back World Legacy cards, which sometimes comes up with World Chalice, but you usually just add back a banished Mekk Knight to recycle resources, and then it just negates any trap card that activates in its column.
Or in the column
Just
of a
so
Mekk
silly.
Knight monster. So any trap
Yeah, exactly.
effect that
Yeah,
activates in the same column as the Mekk Knight negated. In like
yeah.
just put in
And this
so
is
much work against
exactly
Eldritch, bro.
Yeah, this is exactly where the synergy with Indigo Eclipse comes up. So like you can just activate this, and then let's say your opponent's playing like Dogmatic and stuff, they have punishment set. Activate this in the same column as punishment, slap down a Mekk Knight, and then their punishment is just turned off. Like this is
Hmm.
just Mekk Knight Red reboot. It's so dumb. Such a good card. Yeah, and then it also just functions as an extender. The rest of this is basically just generic stuff.
Yeah. Talents, Dark Ruler, Imperm. These like are pretty standard main deck cards. There's really not too much to say about them.
The one big thing is Talents was fucking MVP this entire event. Like your worst matchup is probably Dinosaur, because Misk kinda just stops all interaction you can put up and you don't have a good way to stop it. And yeah, I stole. I won a game twice off of just stealing my opponent's UCT. I've also like stealing UCT, stealing Dragoon. Sometimes just like drawing 2 cards is too good. Like 3TT is so good. Uh, yeah, Dark Ruler, Imperm. All of these are really good because you can set them to make columns also. That's the main reason for Imperm really.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then your main control card really. How you like, oh, I wouldn't call this the win condition, but it's pretty close. This is really what makes this like, it's not no TK deck. You play control really with this card. When it's activated, you call off the Haunted a level 5 or higher monster. That's any level 5 or higher monster, which will come up once we get to the side deck. But you can bring back any level 5 or higher, and then it just negates any monster effect in the same column as a Mekk Knight. So your
Wild.
opponent normal summons, like, I don't know, your opponent normal summons something,
Rescue cat.
effect.
Okay.
For example, your opponent
They
normal
shit.
summons effect, then you chain this and you can bring back Indigo. So then, blam, you bring back Indigo, you negate that effect. Then they like special summon something else, try to use another effect, and then you can use Indigo to move into that column and also negate that. And then you can also sometimes just like get memory too, if you're like really, really good at the game. And then all of a sudden you just have like skill drain for the entire field, which is like, yeah, this is fucking silly. Then side or extra?
Extra. Let's go through the extra. We're about halfway through our time, so let's cruise.
Yeah, sure. So Dingirsu and Dingirsu and Galatea, and I guess Zeus also kind of goes along with this. Girsu happens to be an Orcus monster.
Yeah.
Which just like this just allows you to go into Dingirsu, which is a fucking insane card, and then on
Yeah.
top of that, like I won multiple games off just like Dingirsu into a Zeus, sent
And then
entire
just
field.
send
Like,
everything. Yeah. Zeus is wild.
yeah, the
especially-
card is cracked.
Like, ding into Zeus is insane. Like
Yeah, exactly. Like
you're
send the one
able
card
to
that
like
stop
bait
it,
an interruption
just-
with the Dingirsu, protect the
everything.
Dingirsu, and then use the Zeus.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Zeus, really, really good card, obviously. Galatea does kind of have its uses with its effect, because World Chalice, when it banishes itself to search, you can shuffle it back to recycle it with Galatea. It comes up sometimes. So yeah, the 6 best monsters in my extra deck. 3-lib. God, I love this card.
This card is insane.
Yeah.
Like non-targeting, non-destruction, removal. That's a body is.
Yeah.
And that also sets World Legacy all like half of your deck. Like during the it's this card is insane.
This is probably the monster I summoned most in the extra deck the entire event. You just like Girsu makes this off of 1 card, and like it's important. It's not just World Legacy monsters; it's any World Legacy card. So like sometimes you'll also just like put a succession in graveyard to make this live. So then you like this gets everything. It gets extenders. It gets disruption. It's so good. And then it's a Dragoon out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice. Just non-targeting shuffle 1 card. It's just insane.
3 Morningstar. This card is just, it's really, really good. Like, on summon, discard a Mekk Knight or a World Legacy card, which helps if you draw World Chalice. And then you just add any World Legacy card. So, same thing as Lib, except you can also get Memory and activate it the same turn. Which, that's pretty big, and it's also just a Mekk Knight. This card doesn't really win as many games anymore off of people not reading it. As it happened once, where if your Mekk Knight battles, it's basically Waboku. If your Mekk Knight battles a monster in a different column, it cannot be destroyed by battle and you take no damage, which is like really good.
Yeah, that is really
Just
nice.
first came out, you would win so many games off people just going battle phase with like 20,000 damage on board, and then just why monster no die, and just like copy paste the text and laugh. Mekk Knights, Spectrum Supreme, Direct Attacker. This is Cowboy, but for Mekk Knights. So fucking funny in time. IP, good card. You can use this on your opponent's turn. Link away Lip to make Abramax,
Oh.
and then you trigger Lip on their opponent's turn, and you just summon an Abramax that Eldritch cannot out.
Or or even like going to Unicorn and doing a double shuffle, which is just like
Yeah.
insane. Like
Yeah, exactly.
IP lib seems insane.
Well, yeah, like comes up not that often, but like it's really really good to have in there. I would not cut it. Um, Soldier of Chaos. This is just another monster that Eldritch cannot out. Um, you have like
Yeah.
4 of them. Axe Code. I like broke a field like once with this board with this guy. Like it comes up sometimes. Whatever. You don't really go into it with a link 3 that often. Sometimes just making a link 2 and then making it with 2 links, getting your lip shuffle, popping their field. That's enough. So yeah, a good card. And then Abramax. Eldritch can't out it. So yeah, and then for the side deck, it's this is like pretty standard. What I've been playing for like the last half year or something, more or less. The artifacts in this deck specifically are so silly because
Please
as
explain, because I saw you do this during the tournament. It's so funny, like the shit you can do with the artifacts.
Yeah, so World Legacy Secret can reborn any level 5 or higher monster. This includes both Lancia and Scythe. So like there were multiple times versus Dino where I would literally Lancia them 3 turns in a row and they would just pass back. Because like you can like tribute Lancia from hand. Okay, they pass. Then on your turn you just set Secret in their standby. Flip up Secret, bring back Lancia. Lancia effect. Okay, pass. And you just repeat this until they're dead. It's so funny, and they literally cannot do anything about it. You can do the same thing with Scythe, but that just requires you to get engraved. That's not hard though. 3 Cosmic, shits on Eldritch. Just the best generic back row removal in my opinion.
Yeah.
In retrospect, this should have probably been Lightning Storm. But yeah, Cosmic Cyclone did fine.
Yeah, but like
Buster,
you
good
could
card.
probably afford Lightning Storm given how good of an Eldritch matchup you have. You don't really care about putting their Eldritch stuff engraved with the Lightning Storm, but Cosmic is still. But like, so you can't deny that like removing in general, like I think in certain Eldritch builds where they're only going to be setting a couple cards per turn, like some pure Eldritch lists are only setting 2 in passing, you know, or setting 3, and then the Cosmic becomes really good because you're guaranteed removing an Eldritch trap from the game. And but like there are like especially 60 card piled Eldritch decks, which we actually just did a deck profile on, where they're setting set 5 and pass, where Lightning Storm, yes, you're putting a couple Eldritch traps in grave, but you're also putting away their Ice Dragon's Prison and their Trap Trick and like this, that, and the other. So I think it's just personal preference, you know?
Yeah, also this card just comes up a surprising amount versus Virtual World.
Oh my god, yes.
There are certain hands where you can literally like Cosmic their 1 back row and pass. But it's also just really good at stopping the trap in general. Feather Duster, I drew this card way more often than I should have this tourney. It's really, really good. It just says no to back row decks. Sanctum for Scythe and Lancia. Pretty self-explanatory.
This is really good going first.
Yeah, this card's just sometimes
and
you just win a game off summoning Scythe. Goes in match. This card, it's really, really good versus Virtual World. In a lot of the time, it's good versus Dino. For the most part. And also, it doesn't really affect you that much because all the monsters you really need to go into are light. Like, you only really want to summon Gyasu on turn 1. After that, it doesn't really matter. So from there, you just summon your Mekk Knights, you summon your Lib, they're all lights. And you can play perfectly fine under Gosen. final card, What Legacy Whispers. Um, this card is exclusively for going first, when I expect Lightning Storm and Feather Duster. Because going first, like your usual field going first on like an optimal hand, right? After siding, you'll have like without drawing side cards, you'd maybe have like a secret and a memory set as your main interruptions, and then like whatever side stuff you drew. So that gives you like a lot of interruption. The issue is just you have no way to stop spells that way. So sometimes you just get Harvey Feather Dustered or you get Lightning Stormed, and you just have to scoop. Um, which is really, 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 really sad. So I got tired of losing to those cards, and I started playing this really, really bad card in my side deck. But yeah, it's basically just on activation, it's like Axe of Despair for a level 5 or higher monster. And then it does the same thing as Secret, where it negates things in Mekk Knight columns. This one just does it for spells.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's pretty much it for the list.
What was your hardest matchup of the event?
Easily Dinosaur. Misk is such a stupid card. Like, honestly, versus Dino, a lot of time, like, you really have to rely on your staples to beat that deck. Your engine really just cannot stop it, because, like, they just activate Misk and you have no way to interact with it. And then you just, like, summon UCT and punch. So, yeah. That's also what ended up kicking me out in top 8.
Is there anything you're planning on changing about the deck?
Yeah,
Outside of
like,
possibly Lightning Storms?
yeah, honestly, like, in my current build, this is kind of old, but yeah, in my current build, I'll probably, like, cut Dark Ruler for Lightning Storm. I've experimented a bit with playing a bunch of trap cards, but, like, I not really liked it. But yeah, definitely just cut Dark Ruler because like the card's kind of bad, and they play Lightning Storm instead. That's basically it.
Cool. Well, BMT, thank you so much for coming on, and congratulations again for getting top 8 in the GGPG. Can't wait to see what you do in Bad League, as well as continuing to top more of these events. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yep. Well, thanks for having me, man. See ya.
Yeah, man. I'll talk to you later. And this is Lube Cubes, signing off.